Today we are looking at another example of waiting, the one of Hannah. And our story is written for us in the first book of Samuel from chapter 1. It was the story of a man that had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. At that time, you remember that polygamy was the order of the day. That was the society people lived in. And Jesus would later explain that it was because God was teaching people gradually how to live. So those two women were married to one man, and one had children. And you will notice that Peninnah's children are only mentioned globally as children. We don't know their names, we don't know their numbers. And it is clear that they had value as children, but in the plan of God, they were just ordinary people. Hannah had no children, and she was sad about it, very sad. And remember that in that society, just like we have today in Nigeria, if you don't have a child, people will start insulting you. They will say, you are a man. You cannot even give birth. Why is it that you don't have children? And they will never put into question the fertility of the man. It will be always the woman that will be blamed. And in that case, anyway, it was the problem of Hannah. And one thing that you notice is that while she was waiting on God to give her children, and knew that it was God alone that could do it, it went on year after year and after year. She never got these children for a very long time. And the worst part of it was that every year, her family, the man and the two women and their children, were going on pilgrimage to the sanctuary of God, as it was traditional. And every time they went there, Peninnah was using the opportunity to torment her co-wife. She hated her with a vengeance for unknown reason, because she had lots of kids, and when they went to the sanctuary, the husband gave her meat from the sacrifice and distributed to all the children. So she was not maltreated, she was honored just the same way as the other. But still, she decided to boast. And it's something we know in our Nigerian society too. If there are two wives and one gets children, she will automatically start maltreating the other, using all her venom against her. And Peninnah was insulting her rival. She saw her as the one that was loved more than her. And the husband used to try and, console Hannah, gave her a double portion of meat, told her, "Why do you cry? Am I not for you more than several children?" He tried all his might, all he could, but still, it was really painful. And we have to see that in that case, the waiting period was not just waiting, but waiting faced with societal attempts to maltreat her, frowning at her, gossip against her, and her co-wife day in, day out tormenting her with a vengeance when she was in the sanctuary. And that is not something that should happen. You expect that when people are in a special time of prayer, they would refrain from, maltreating others or doing evil. And it is a learning that even in the church, the devil still tries to separate people, to bring disunity, and it adds to the pain of waiting. So whatever your waiting is, know it that the pain you will receive, the pain you will endure is not only in your heart, in your mind, in the society around you, where people will ask questions, tell you what to do, try to give you advice, and many of these advices are wrong, although they may be well-intentioned. But you have to know that even in the church, you can expect torment, because the church is not a group of perfect people. We are only perfect in the waiting, perfect in hope, perfect in promise of God. And so she waited and waited and waited, and there was no end in sight until she made a decision. So she was actually in depression. If it is today, she will be talking about her mental health, looking for help from the state, possibly. But the change started in her mind and her heart. One time she decided that it was the one that would finish it, that she had had enough. So that year, when she went to the temple with the family, she decided to have a me time, but not me time to eat biscuit and chocolate. She went for an extra time of prayer. And her prayer was so urgent that the priest thought she was drunk. She was just there, just like Africans do, probably gesticulated. You know, all her body was involved, all her emotions, all her heart, all her mind, the whole of her involved, telling God, look at God, look what happened. All these years, people have been tormenting me. I'm sad. And when my husband dies, what will happen to me? And, you know, all that was piling up. And it is written that she was speaking to God, but no sound was coming out of her mouth. And the priest, instead of helping, went to add salt to injury. Go and rest. You are drunk. Come back when you are sane. And she just peacefully replied, "Man of God, I'm not drunk. I'm really sad, and I'm pouring my heart to God." And he said, "Okay, go in peace." And his words, in spite of the state of his heart, we know that he was not right with God. He was concerned about God, but he was completely incapable of dealing with his own family. And it is written that if a man of God is not capable of dealing with his own family, he should not be having a post in the church. But yet he had. Yeah? But yet, when she explained to him what was the matter, he sealed her prayer. And God answered speedily afterwards. So we learn from that no matter how long you wait, no matter how bitter it is, no matter how maltreated you are, you can come out of it. The decision is yours. You can come out of the pit just by saying, "Lord, I surrender, I'm going to pray. I will not say anything anymore. I will not cry anymore. I'm going to tell it all to you." And when you pray, pray with the whole of yourself. God has created us with a body. You can use your body. You can lift your hands. You can shout. You can do whatever you want. God knows and God understands. And lastly, don't count on the church. Don't count even on the pastor. Count on God. And God will do it. She honored God with a prayer. God honored her with an answer. And she didn't stop there. She consecrated that child to God, knowing that Samuel was a gift from God and God alone. Your waiting is never in vain. Trust me,